Hi, and welcome to the JAR's Frequently Asked Questions audio support. The information included in this audio file is provided as a suggested method for implementing the JAR system that you learned at the Millionaire Mind Intensive and in the book Secrets of the Millionaire Mind: Mastering the Inner Game of Wealth, written by T.Harv Eker. Please remember that we are not qualified to provide professional investment or financial advice, and this information is provided as a guide only. In our experience, this system has shown to be an effective means of creating positive money management habits. However, it may not be suitable for everyone. Should you have any specific questions about your situation, please consult a qualified tax or investment advisor. Let's begin with some general questions. The first and most common question asked about the JARS program is, what are the JAR names and percentages? So let's go through that quickly. The first JAR is the FFA, or Financial Freedom Account, and that's set at 10%. The next JAR is the LTSS, or Long-Term Savings and Spending JAR. That's also set at 10%. Third on the list is your Education JAR at 10%. Fourth is the Play JAR at 10%. Fifth is the Give JAR, and that's set at 5 or 10%. And the sixth JAR is your Necessities JAR, and that is set at 50 or 55% based on your household needs. If at all possible, you should use these percentages. However, it may be that your necessities take up a greater percentage of your income than just 50 or 55%. If that is currently the case, make sure that you do cover all of your necessities first, and then split up the remaining money into 5 equal payments to each of the remaining JARs. The goal is to pick an amount that works for you and create the habit. Even if you have to start with $1 per month divided between 5 JARs, it is still important to create the habit and gradually increase it as your income allows. Another question we get asked a lot is, do we calculate the percentages based on gross income or based on net income? And the answer to this one is very simple. Calculate all of your percentages based on your net income after taxes are taken off. Another question that we get is from people who have a large income, and they ask, do I have to split the whole thing up? And the answer, of course, is yes. Having a large income just means that you'll have a large play account, a large financial freedom account, etc., etc. Hopefully, you'll be able to put even more in your financial freedom account and be able to reach financial freedom that much sooner. The next question, how do you manage your money if you're living off of your savings? Well, if you have a substantial savings, you would still use the JARs, and congratulations for having it. Also, be sure to look for a passive income source. If you have a small savings from which to live, of course, use smaller amounts, but still use the JARs. It's still the habit that you need to have. You know, passive income can be added to regular income and split into JARs, or just put your passive income into your financial freedom account. A passive income business can become primary income and then be split up into your JARs. So what if you're retired or retiring soon? If you have a retirement income, you should use the JARs in the exact same way as you normally would. Cover all of your necessities and then split the remaining amount between the other JARs. If you are not yet retired, the JARs will help prepare you for your retirement. So be sure to follow the system. Your financial freedom account is the golden goose that will provide you with golden eggs to live on in your retirement. Now, a lot of people have credit card or other consumer debt, and they ask, what do I do with those? You have to pay off your credit card debt, but don't take that money from your financial freedom account. Divide up your income according to the percentages outlined previously. If you find your debt is high, possibly use one of your LTSS, or long-term savings and spendings, as a savings towards paying off your debt. You may have to postpone something special, something you'd like to purchase, until your debt is down or gone in order to make that happen. Once the debt is gone, then you can use your long-term savings and spending for your desire. If your necessities are high, you still want to take a specific dollar amount and split it among your jars. It is most important to create the habit. Now, one option for eliminating debt is to pay the smallest debt off first. Make sure that you pay the minimums on all of your other debts, though. Once your smallest debt is paid off, you can then take that amount and add it to the second debt that you've already been paying your minimum on, because you are in the habit of making that payment. It's already been assigned. Then you can double up the payment on your second lowest debt load. And keep doing that until all of your debts are paid off. When the second one is paid off, add that total amount that you were paying to the minimum payment on your next lowest debt. Also, you can call your credit card companies and ask them if they will lower your minimum while you're in the process of paying off your debts. And you can also ask them if they will lower the interest percentage on your credit card. Now, a lot of people ask, do you have to follow the JARS system exactly? And there's no right or wrong way to use the system. The most important thing is that you use it. If your necessities are more than 50 or 50% of your income, make sure that you pay those debts off first and then split the rest up between the jars equally. In some cases, you may need to start with a small amount. Like I said, you can put in just $1 and split it up between the 5 jars. But start with an amount that you can absolutely count on every single month so that you create the habit and develop your money management muscles. Then you can increase the amount as your financial situation improves. It is a powerful habit that will help you in the long run. Salary people sometimes ask, well, I get paid twice a month, and the first thing I do is pay myself my financial freedom 10%. Then I deposit to my necessities jars and then to the other 4 jars. And they ask, is that the right format? Now listen, Harv believes in paying yourself first, and the 90-Day Wealth and Conditioning book reinforces that. But take care of all of the jars when you get paid. You could do equal percentages each of those 2 paychecks. So for example, you pay your financial freedom account and your long-term savings and spending from one paycheck, and then you're giving your education and your necessities from another paycheck. Or you could do it in any combination of those, or you could split up each paycheck and put some money into each of your accounts every time you get paid. Whatever you decide, just make sure that you do contribute to all of the jars every single month. Now, another thing here is internet banking allows you to name each of the accounts as you desire. So you can use the jar names for your online accounts. In many cases, you can also set auto payments, which is another mechanism for taking care of these payments into your savings funds on a habit basis. Some people currently aren't in a great financial situation and they don't have any income. And they ask, well, how do I use the jars? There is no excuse, and let me be very blunt about this, there is no excuse not to use the jar system, whether you use real jars or whether you use bank accounts. You can start with as little as $1 per month. If you're currently in debt, adding $1 per month will not hurt you in the long run. And the habit that you will gain, the positive money management habits that you will gain from managing your jars, even with $1 per month, will far, far outweigh any negative impact of that additional dollar in debt. And if you're worried about it, don't have that extra cup of coffee this week. Use that money and put it into your jars instead. Choose a consistent amount and divide that amount up every month. Once you commit, you will see more and more money coming in, and then just increase the amount as you can. The key is to start. Remember, the jars are a very visual way to save and to manage your money. If you prefer, you can set up those bank accounts I was talking about, and you can pay your bills out of those accounts. When your credit card bill comes in, you can then take the money from the appropriate jar or the appropriate account and pay the related items on the bill. So that leads me to the next question. Do I have to use real jars? There is no rule saying that you have to use real jars. However, it is a very powerful visual reminder. Every time you walk into your kitchen or wherever room you have your jars being stored, you can literally see your money growing in the accounts that should be growing. Your financial freedom account, your long-term savings and spending account. It's a great boost of energy and enthusiasm when you see that long-term savings and spending jar getting fatter and fatter every month. You know you're getting closer to the thing that you want to purchase. If you do your banking on the internet, you should be able to create the additional bank accounts and rename them for each of your jar names. But it's still a good idea to take those bank accounts books or bank account statements and put them in physical jars where you can actually see those numbers growing. There are some people out there who have a sporadic income and may go months and months on end without being paid and then get a large sum of money. So for those of you who are in this situation, you actually want to choose an amount that you can use on a consistent basis, which may be just $100 a month, and divide that money up into the jars. And so you have it in holding pattern. And each month you take that $100 or whatever the number is for you and divide it up and put it into the separate jars. That way you continue to maintain the monthly habit. Then, when you get each of your bulk payments, you'll have a large deposit that you can then use and separate into larger amounts and divide up among the jars. Now, remember, when you get that large sum of money, 10% of that large sum of money is the same as 10% of a smaller amount of money more often. So take the 10%, put it in your financial freedom account. Put 10% in your long-term savings, 10 in your give, 10 in your education, 5 to 10 in your give jar actually, and 50 to 55% in your necessities jar. The key is to make sure that all of your necessities are covered during the dry periods so that you're not tempted to take money out of your other jars if you happen to come across some need during one of the dry periods. In a pinch, if you must take from one of your jars, never take from your financial freedom account. You do not want to kill the golden goose. Also, remember to put change, pocket change, in the financial freedom account on a daily basis. Adjust as you go. Keep the habit. Now, one of the things we've heard once or twice is, I've used the jars and now I'm broke. Well, if you're using the jars, you literally cannot be broke. There's money in them. So remember, there's no right or wrong way to use the jars. What works for one person may not work for you. The key is to start with what will work best for you. Be a good judge of what you can live on, and if you must, start with as little as $1 per month and divide that up. It's okay to start small. Commit to an amount that will work for you, and then go for it. Set the habit, keep the habit, and keep your commitment.